When I was young, one of the first ways I remember being bullied was for my body weight. So how do we see young children associating being fat, a natural cause, a natural body, with being so wrong? My name is Toria Petrie, and I am here to talk about the body positivity movement. And first of all, I'd like to say I'm not really fat. I'm more of on the chubby spectrum. So I do have the privilege of being able to talk about this in a safer space than somebody who is larger than I am. Because if they were to talk about it, there would be a lot of internet trolls coming at them. So I like to use my privilege to help change the world for them, because they deserve to take up as much space as I do. So I'd like to start off with, what is body positivity? Most people feel as though when you're really positive about your body, you have to love the way you look. You get to stroll into rooms looking like RuPaul, feeling like you are on top of the world. But body positivity isn't necessarily that. It can include that. But with body positivity, we want to see people be comfortable in who they are. We want to see them respect their bodies, because beauty isn't the price you pay to live in society. Many people don't understand that their bodies don't have to be beautiful. We put such a price on their beauty, when in reality, when we treat our bodies with respect and we find comfort into them, instead of changing them to be this, that, or the other, we can see the world that we want. We can change it actively instead of hoping someone will change it for ourselves. So, the biggest factors about body positivity is removing diet culture and its effects on people, as well as removing fat phobia from your life. So let me break it down for you. What is fat phobia? Simply put, it is the fear of being or seeing fat. And every day we see it. We like to ignore it and say, oh, I'm fine with fat people. But every day you open up some magazine like the Daily Mail and see that another person is getting mad that they have to sit next to a fat person on a plane. Or that we're judging celebrities' bodies because they gained baby weight. Baby weight. So, how is fat phobia caused in society? From a young age, I know most people hear, don't eat that, that'll make you fat. Or, ooh, that dress looks fat, makes you look fat. Or, as I've seen before, just saying outright that being fat is gross or makes you disgusting, when in reality, it's just one of the many facets of being a human. Another way that society furthers this notion is through how they associate health problems with being fat. Oftentimes, when you think of diabetes, heart disease, or high blood pressure, you associate it with a larger person. When in reality, being fat and having these diseases aren't mutually exclusive. Plenty of people who are skinny, if not more, have the same problems with their bodies. We just don't see it as much because it doesn't push a certain agenda that the world wants to see, that being fat is bad. And what we also don't see are the terrible health problems that come with disordered eating or eating disorders. We don't see as often the effects that they have, because how would they be able to tell us that not eating correctly, by starving yourself, is more morally correct than being fat? Now, how can they push this? How do we let them? And how do we fall so easily for this? Let me tell you, it's a little baby that I like to call diet culture. Well, most activists like to call it diet culture, but I guess I'm just taking credit for things today. It is a cyclical thing. And we've all been through that cycle if we've ever been on a diet. I know personally, it was most of my teenage years. kind of sucks, but guess what? I'm taking it back. And the diet cycle is very simple. It's you see that, oh, you got a little bit of chunk, I should start eating healthy. I mean, I'm going to be fat. But we have to figure out what disordered eating we're going to do. We could go with cutting out sugar, keto, paleo, Whole30. After choosing whatever diet you want to do, you start doing really good. You start going to the gym 5 to 7 times a day. You're eating all your greens, and you're going and you're going and you crash. And then you begin to binge. You binge on everything that you cut out, and you gain that weight back, and you internalize that because you are the fat person that society told you to hate. When in reality, you shouldn't hate yourself. Because if you eat when you're hungry and you gain weight, that means that weight was supposed to be there. As people, we need to recognize these patterns in ourselves. That when we take away things and then we eat it and we feel bad, that's society talking. That the only way that we can learn to be comfortable and respect our bodies is by understanding that they know. They know what they need. They know who they are. And they know what they need to eat. So this is how we're going to defeat diet culture and fat phobia. At least for during this video. If you all want me to, I will continue to go on about it in a different video. But first, let's start with fat phobic thoughts. We all have them, whether it's subconscious or very conscious. Oftentimes we'll look at someone and say, oh, it's really sad for them in our heads, not understanding that they probably are fine with it. Or they're struggling because everybody thinks that about them. That because they're fat, they don't have a personality. They're less of a person. They don't have a heart. But they do. They're just like you and me. They just have fat. That you could be in their shoes given the fact that you listen to your body or your genetic code was a little bit different. It's dehumanizing to think those thoughts about them. So when you have them, think that's a person. Think about the qualities that you can see. If you're talking to them, notice their personality. Notice who they are. Recognize that fat people are people. They're nothing different than you and I. And next, how we're going to break the fat phobic cycle inside of ourselves is intuitive eating. Intuitive eating is listening to your body. As children, we are pre-programmed to know what our body wants to eat. As toddlers, we know when to stop. We know when to start eating. We know how much we want, how little we want, and what we want. So now that we are people who are older and our bodies are reprogrammed by society to want to limit the types of food we eat, what we eat, and everything in between, we need to go back to step 1 and listen to our bodies. When our bodies need us to eat sugar, we should eat sugar. We shouldn't pig out on protein because, fun fact, your brain runs on carbohydrates. And as a student, that's kind of a great thing because that means I get to eat mac and cheese. But all jokes aside, listening to your body not only makes you love it more, but makes you trust yourself. It makes you learn to respect not only your body, but other people's bodies. And I'd like to finish this segment off by saying that I'm not always going to know everything. This is a learning process for me because this started because I had 3 eating disorders in the past 2 years and it was difficult. But now I'm coming back and trying to do my part. So I recognize that I won't always be perfect, and if I say something that isn't perfect, please call me on it. Let's educate each other because in this world, that's all we have to change. Thank you.